Welcome to another episode of OG55. This is another member-picked topic. Here on the channel, we reach out to our members periodically to pick topics for videos. This topic was picked by friend and family of the channel, Mr. Matthew Muir, all the way from the UK. Disney, how can they better weather the current economic environment? Will they have to sell stuff off? We're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down up next on OG55. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55. Today, we're talking all about the future of Disney, how they can better weather this, economic, I don't know what you would want to say, rough waters ahead, basically. What can Disney do to better kind of weather that storm? We're going to talk about it. Before we do, though, Mr. Webba, welcome back. Where can everybody find you on social media, sir?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, OG and Matthew Muir. It's good to do another video with you again, sir. You can find me on Twitter, Mr. Webba at Webslinger760. You can also find me on Threads and Instagram, Mr. Webba at Cobweb91. You can also find me here on Orange Grove 55.
There he is. There he is, Mr. Webba, the one and only. And we got Matthew Muir all the way from the UK. Matthew, thank you for joining us, brother.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's been too long, brother. If you can let everybody know, I know you're not on Twitter, but you are on Instagram. Where can they find you on
Matthew
Instagram?
Thomas Muir, all one word.
Matthew Thomas Muir, you heard the man. He is a very, very passionate Disney fan. Make sure you follow him on social media. He is family here at OG55. We love Matthew, so go ahead and show him some love over there on Instagram. All right, so this topic is actually courtesy of Matthew. He's a member here on OG55. He requested we do a video on this amazing topic. I'd like to do a video on what Disney might do to better weather the current economy under a future CEO. Like what approach Josh D'Amaro or Dana Walden might take in selling off certain assets that are no longer valuable and slimming the company down as it is necessary. What do you think? So this is a great topic, Matthew. And this is something that, look, we are going through a lot right now in terms of economic, the economic situation, right? We got a lot of the tariff stuff that's kind of impacting the economy. There's a slowdown. So Matthew, I'll start with you. It's your topic. What do you think Disney should do? We'll start with that, and then we'll kind of go from there.
I think they're probably just going to have to target all the ancillary assets, like all the non-core assets that aren't like the films or TV studios or even the parks.
Okay, so for you, it's more of like the non-core. So parks are off limits.
Cruises are off limits.
Studios are off limits. What about TV though? If they came for ABC, would you be okay with that?
Perhaps because I've always wondered if they've ever really needed ABC.
I would agree with you, Matthew. I think that's kind of like on my target right now, to be honest with you, because like I feel obviously television, like linear TV, whatever they call it, it's a melting ice cube essentially. It's dying out. We have streaming now. The online landscape has really changed a lot. I mean, they got Disney Plus. Do we need that linear element? And maybe now, maybe we do right now, maybe, but like, will we still need it though in 10 years? I'm not so sure.
Perhaps not.
Perhaps not. Exactly. So that would be definitely on my list, at least for consideration, right? At least for consideration. What say you, Webba? What do you think, man? If Disney has to slim down, where do you cut from? What do you cut?
Yeah, so actually it's funny because ABC was actually my initial first thought, right? So I would do that, and then I would actually go to their 20th century or their what is it, 20th Century Fox Studios now?
20th Century Studios.
Yeah, 20th Century Studios. I would actually just keep X-Men, Avatar, Predator, and Alien, and then I would sell off everything else.
Yeah, my verdict on the Fox acquisition is that they only really needed any remaining Marvel and Star Wars assets. They never really needed anything else from it.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry, OG. So I would say so. Yeah, perfectly. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the movie Prey, which is like the newer Predator movie that came out on Hulu. Really good. And I also love the newest Alien. OG, you saw it. I saw the new Alien Romulus movie. That was great, and that was produced by the studio. So fantastic. So I would keep the Star Wars stuff, the X-Men stuff, or the Marvel stuff in general, and then the Predator and Alien stuff, and then I would sell off everything else. So ABC and all the other, stuff from the Fox era.
Yeah, that would be a smart move, I think. Yeah, because Fox has a lot of stuff that you don't necessarily need, right? Like, do you really need Home Alone?
No.
Yeah, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, like The Simpsons, okay, I can see a case to be made for that. Family Guy, case to be made. Those are big on streaming. Those two shows are huge. So Disney needs to go through their library and sort of like kind of cherry pick the biggest IP that Fox has that they can actually utilize. But like, I agree with you and Matthew, Ebba. Like, I mean, a lot of it though is really like kind of a waste. They bought Fox for $70 billion. Now they sold a lot of the sports assets because they had to, right? Because of the regulatory stuff. So it came down to like $50 billion. They could have brought that number down even further, really. I mean, there's so much bloat there with that studio that they don't need all that other stuff. And they did it really to fill the streamer up. But times are changing with that. It's not even so much about that anymore. It's about profitability for the streaming services now. We talked a lot about with Seymour. So that's a great find, bro. Like Fox, you could probably really go in there, and clean house. Go ahead, Webb. I'm sorry.
Oh no, say and speaking of like, okay, because we talked about Simpsons come to the park. Personally, I would rather not see that. Personally, that's just me. However, I would love to see, and sorry, Matthew, I know it's kind of going a little bit off topic, but like Predator and Alien, I would love to see that in like one of the Disney parks. That would be so dope for like a Villains Land or like a Halloween thing, or even like an attraction. I mean, Disney used to have, what was it with Michael Eisner, that Alien attraction show thing?
Oh yeah, Alien Encounter.
Yeah, an encounter. Like, that's a perfect opportunity for something like that with those type of IPs. But anyways, yeah, I think ABC and then the other IPs from Fox that you just mentioned, OG, right, that we don't really need, that get rid of those, right? I think that could bring back a lot of money for Disney. There was another one I was thinking about, but I was thinking maybe not because it does bring a lot of money, and that was ESPN. And I'll be upfront, I am not a big sports guy at all. I don't really care for sports. However, I do know that sports is a huge money generator. So I don't know how much ESPN brings in for Disney. If it's bringing them that money and that profitability, then sure, keep it. But I don't know if it is though. If it's not, then get rid of it.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. Like, I'm a nerd. I'm not really a sports guy. Like, I always tell people like a decade ago, which I can't even believe it's been a decade since The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
But a decade ago, when Disney was doing all these Monday Night Football, Star Wars trailer things, and it was like they would bury the new Star Wars trailer in the middle of Monday Night Football. And as a nerd who hates sports, it was like having to chew through the box to get to the pizza. I freaking hated it. Having to sit through this football game that I don't care about to watch the new Star Wars trailer. I absolutely hated it. But I feel like there's a benefit for the sports, right? But I also see the case to be made where it's like, it's not really like what Matthew was saying, like that core Disney thing.
Right, exactly. But it does, I think, generate them money, right? I mean, like a company's not going to break something off if it's giving them, good investment value back in return.
No, exactly. I think it is making money. Seymour Duck, if you are watching this, brother, because we love Seymour, comment down below, Seymour, and kind of shine some light on this because you are way more knowledgeable on this topic. But if ESPN's bringing the moolah in, yeah, they're probably going to keep it. But another option too is what they could do, and I know this has been kind of circulated and rumored for a while too, is they could spin ESPN off into its own company, kind of like what Comcast is doing with a lot of their TV stuff, like MSNBC and CNBC. They're spinning it off into another company called SpinCo, I believe it's called. So they could technically do that with an ESPN, where they have where ESPN becomes its own company, but they have a stake in it. You know what I'm saying? That they don't. Yeah, but they don't own it like outright like they do now. So it's kind of weird. But Matthew, I mean, ESPN, I mean, would you put that on the chopping block or?
Perhaps.
Really? Okay. Well,
yeah, Disney doesn't really need it, in all honesty. It does feel like that linear TV thing, like we were saying.
Now, Matthew Muir and OG, because we all love Disney, right? I have a question for other products, right? And I'm going to ask this because I don't know if you count this as the main Disney core theme. Would you get rid of, or should Disney get rid of, if like there's this financial crisis and, you know, kind of struggling through what's going on politically, not doing the Adventures by Disney stuff and the whole DVC thing?
Oh, that's interesting. So you keep the park division
and the cruises.
Yeah, and the cruises, but you downsize it. You get rid of DVC, you get rid of Adventures by Disney, a lot of this ancillary stuff. Would you what say you about that, Matthew? That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, perhaps. I'm not saying they definitely should, but they may need to scale those things back a bit depending on how the economy evolves.
Yeah, and I'm curious too what the numbers look like for that stuff. I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I know anything about DVC. I'm not. That's more George's thing, you know what I'm saying? And even the Adventures by Disney stuff, which shout out to our friend Alia. She did a couple of those. She's fantastic. We love Alia. She's lovely. But like, I don't really know the numbers there. Like, does Adventures by Disney bring in a lot of moolah for Disney? I don't really know. You know what I'm saying? Is it something that is really viable for them? Is it something that they could maybe like cut off and be okay?
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, here's the, because I've always looked at it as someone who doesn't have the money for these things, right? I've always looked at it and be like, oh, that's a really cool, like, extra thing that Disney does, right? Like me, I'm someone who just loves the studio, the parks, and the cruises, right? Like you know, like Matthew's saying, for me, those are like the main core Disney stuff. The Adventures by Disney, the DVC, like to me, those are like extra Disney offerings, which are really cool. However, like, how much money is that bringing in? Again, I don't know, people. I have not looked into it. I'm not sure. I just thought this off the top of my head in terms of the extra stuff that maybe Disney doesn't really necessarily need. Because when you look at DVC and Adventures by Disney, these are actually very expensive experiences.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, DVC is pretty much like a contract, basically, right? For like, what, 40, 50 years, I think? Because it's basically their own timeshare, right? Right. And then on top of that, Adventures by Disney, it's really cool because you have different like adventures of like Disney style through like different like locations around the world. But those are also really, really, really expensive. And it's like, how many people are really cycling through these DVC and ABD that is really justifying the cost of having employees or a program to do that, right? So that's just kind of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's something that, like, again, we're not privy to the numbers, but like that's something I think Disney should look into and kind of see, like, okay, you know, yeah, obviously we keep our theme park division, but do we need Adventures by Disney? Do we need that? Do we still need, you know? So that's all stuff I think that should be on the table, you know.
Oh, and I just thought of another one. Okay, do we need the new? Which again, I think it's a cool idea, but does Disney or do we need the Disney community? Like residential or like the community stuff. What's that called?
Oh, the Cotino over there in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
No, that's a whole thing, and that's crazy because that was, I think, a Chapek era thing. The Disney living. Or
like, do we need that? Does Disney really need that offering? You know, I mean, again, I think all this extra stuff is cool, optional things, but where the economy is going, Matthew, to your point, is this really something that, you know, because every company is looking at the political game, the economy, right? And of course, as a business, you want to do what's best for the business and make the money, right? But are all these extra offerings really going to be a benefit to Disney in the current landscape? And that Disney living thing, is that necessary right now? Is that something that they could cut out halfway through?
They could cut it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I would. I mean, look, it looks beautiful. I mean, I saw some recent footage of the lake and everything. It looks gorgeous. But does Disney really want to get into the real estate business like that? I mean, is it like what Matthew was saying, part of their core business?
No.
You know, I mean, it's probably something that, like, okay, obviously they're kind of too far along right now, but you could eventually, maybe in 3, 4, 5 years, sell that off to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Does Disney need to maintain their stake in that? I don't think so.
Yeah, well, because look, right? Because Disney, right, as a whole in the company, you have the studio. You have a cruise line, right? So you have a studio, you have a cruise line, you have theme parks, Okay, and then now we have like this timeshare thing for DVC. So now Disney's in the timeshare business. Then you have the Adventures by Disney, which is I don't know what kind of business that is, like some exploratory travel thing.
Tour operator.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Matthew. And then now they're going to like this living Disney neighborhood thing. And it's like, to your point, do we need to get into more real estate business with that when we now have DVC, which is the timeshare stuff? But it's like Disney, from the core value, Matthew, what you're saying, which is pretty much entertainment, is it necessary for them to have stuff that is like not that core value of not entertainment stuff, right? So, yeah, and it's like, I don't think so, especially if they want to like navigate these waters in the economy right now, what's happening. So I would say get rid of ABC, get rid of all the extra junk from Fox, and then other stuff, again, while cool, is probably not needed, and maybe not like cancel them and never forever to be returned, but maybe put them on like a hiatus or like take them offline for a while until the economy is in a better spot, then bring them back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. These are definitely great options. You know what else would save them a lot of money? You know who I think has a huge salary is Kathleen Kennedy. You should let go of her.
Yeah, I've actually heard that she's due to leave Lucasfilm by August.
I heard that rumor too. Go ahead and elaborate on that, because that is kind of part of this conversation, Matthew. Go ahead and elaborate. I saw that in passing, but go ahead, elaborate on what you heard.
I heard that Kennedy's contract is due to expire by the end of this year, but she's intending to leave in August. Okay.
I mean, that would be good news for Star Wars. And again, like, I'm not like one of these big Kathleen Kennedy haters. I'm not like, there's these YouTubers out there that
she's just unfit to be a CEO.
Yeah, exactly, Matthew. Exactly. I mean, I respect her as a producer. I don't think she's an evil person, but I mean, she hasn't been the greatest studio chief. She really
running a studio just isn't her niche.
It's not her niche, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Get someone else in there. I personally would love Jon Favreau, but I mean, if they pick somebody else, that's fine too. But I think it's time. I think you need fresh blood in there, fresh eyes. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Kathleen Kennedy, that's it's because she's become really, I think, just it's so stale at this point with her, and I just think that Lucasfilm needs some freshness again. So.
Yeah. What I heard was I heard that, but I heard that she wasn't stepping out of movie development entirely. Like that, she would still stay in like being a producer in films in Hollywood.
Okay, I mean that's cool. That's her thing. She should do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's really, really cool. However, OG, and Matthew, I do agree that as much as I would love like Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni. I mean, maybe Jon Favreau, but I love Dave Filoni as like the creative like director, basically, like the chief creator officer, right? I love him being that role because he really understands Star Wars. I mean, and so does Jon Favreau, but from a creative standpoint, he really knows the world, the lore, the characters from the man himself, George Lucas. So I think he's best in that role. And in terms of a presidential or a CEO spot. And this goes for the Disney, the main company. Probably because we talk about it all the time, like who should be CEO and stuff like that. I really think Disney as a company needs a dual leadership, right? However, I also think too, maybe it won't be so bad having a fresh pair of eyes from the outside come in to the company.
Yeah. Oh, no, I agree with you. I hope they are entertaining a lot of external candidates. I know we talked about it privately with our friend Alia, and, I agree with her. I agree with you. I mean, I think that you need to have the external. Look, one of the best CEOs we ever had, and I don't care how his last 10 years were, Michael Eisner is the absolute GOAT. Okay. We would not have a Walt Disney Company today without Michael Eisner and Frank Wells. So yes, we had crap like Chicken Little. I understand that, but the good outweighed the bad with him. I mean, he totally saved the Walt Disney Company. He built it into what it is today. The empire it is today was because of Michael Eisner. So he's an absolute Disney legend, whether they officially call him that or not. And he came from the outside. He came from Paramount. Frank Wells came from Warner Brothers. You know what I'm saying? So this whole idea of we need a Disney person. We need a theme park person. No, you don't. No, you don't. Yeah. Michael Eisner wasn't a theme park person, and we had some of the best theme park stuff that came out of his tenure.
Yeah.
He was a studio guy. Again, I don't know, man. And that's why, not to go off on a tangent, but that's why I really, when I hear park fans talk about like Josh Giamaro becoming the next CEO, it's like Josh might be fine, but just because
we need a studio person.
We do, Matthew. Just because you're a park person doesn't mean you're good for the parks. I mean, clearly he hasn't really done much for the parks, except when he needed it. When he needed the boost because, he was running for CEO. Suddenly, now we got all these projects in the pipeline. But where was this Josh like years ago? He didn't seem to really churn out a lot of stuff. Chapek was a parks person. How good was he for the parks? I think a lot of fans didn't like him. I'll take my chances with the studio person. I'm sorry. I'm done with park people at this point.
Yeah, no, and I think what we've seen the last couple of years is a lack of consistency between Disney as a whole, whether it's Disney, the main studio, Pixar, Lucasfilm, Marvel, right? There's been a lot of really good stuff and then really bad stuff, and then like a lot of like mid stuff.
Oh yeah.
The parks honestly has been the same way.
Yes.
I mean, and the things like that, all of this is from leadership, right? So, Daddy Josh, all the stuff that's happening now in the parks, we have like the people that run the parks. And then, that Josh is chairman of the parks. But it's like all the stuff that's happening now could have happened back then, right? So if there was a consistent pattern, and if Kathleen Kennedy had a consistent pattern, again, not everything has to be fantastic. Just make it good. Just make it good. And we haven't had that consistency between all parts of Disney across the board.
No, it's been real. Yeah, you're right. It's been real spotty, Ebba. It's been real spotty. So, Matthew, I want to thank you for a fantastic topic. This is an amazing member topic. We're going to actually do these again very, very soon. We're actually working our way through. I want to apologize. It is taking us a little longer to get through some of these. I think we only have a handful, maybe 2 or 3 left. Once we get through those, we're gonna start a whole new batch. So we're gonna put the call to action out there, and members can put in their topic ideas, and we're gonna start going through them again. So. But Matthew, I want to thank you so much, brother, for joining us all the way from the UK. If you can remind everybody, Matthew, where they can find you on social media, sir.
You can find me on Instagram under Matthew Thomas Muir, all one word.
Matthew Thomas Muir, all one word. Make sure you follow this man. He is absolute family here at OG55. We love Matthew. And Matthew, I want to thank you again with the time differences. It's really hard for you to do these, and we do appreciate you, sir. So thank you. And Mr. Webba, our friendly neighborhood OG55 Spider-Man. Webba, where can everybody find you on social media, sir?
Absolutely, OG. Thank you so much for having me on. It's always a blast to be on with you guys. And Matthew Muir, it was so good to be on with you again, as always. And you can find me on Twitter, Mr. Webba at Webslinger760. You can also find me on Threads and Instagram, Mr. Webba at Cobweb91. You can also find me here on Orange Grove 55.
There he is. Everybody comment down below with all your thoughts on Matthew's topic. What can Disney do to trim the fat? We got some weird economic waters coming up ahead. We got tariffs, all kinds of weird stuff, a slowdown. What should Disney do to kind of trim the fat? Is there anything they can do? What we want to hear from you. Comment down below. We would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching this episode of OG Video.
Thank you for watching OG55. If you aren't already, consider becoming a member today.